to Brandon Vick, who's going to have a few comments. Brandon's done a really fine job of taking care of it. Brandon Vick.
Well, hello everybody. I know that this room is going to continue to fill up, but I think my initial reaction this morning are just, wow. This is a big change from where we were just 2 years ago at Prairie High School with maybe 500 or 600 people in a high school auditorium. We're expecting 600 folks here today, and we've used every square inch of this building we can for registration, for check-in, for finding our candidates. So thank you for bearing with us. We're excited about today. We're going to do everything we can to make sure it goes smoothly. I need to thank you all and welcome you for participating in the 2012 Clark County Republican Party Convention, taking time out of your busy schedule, or giving up a Saturday to be here with us. As you are likely aware, the Washington State Legislature did away with the presidential primary for 2012. So this is going to be one of the last opportunities that the folks in this room have to express their preference for the presidential candidate. In the room today are people who have attended many county conventions, and there's a lot of first timers. So what we're going to ask you for and what we're hoping for is a fair process, a patient process, and a process that allows everyone to be involved and really enjoy themselves today. Because along with some serious business, we're looking to have a little fun. We're looking to rally around our Republican candidates. We're looking to move forward towards November and celebrate some real big victories. As you likely know, the turnout at your presidential caucus at your precinct level was record-breaking. We had over 4,600 people attend our caucus. Comparing that with 2008, again, we had about 1,200 people show up to our caucuses. So the energy was palatable, there was excitement in the room, and as far as I can tell, it's going to lead to a real good 2012 election cycle. Not only do we have a chance to remove the current residents at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, but we have the best chance in a very long time to change the political landscape in Washington State. This year, after we put in our hard work and energy and our blood, sweat, and tears, we're going to elect a new U.S. Senator. We're going to elect a Republican governor. We're going to elect a Republican Attorney General, a new Secretary of State, a new Lieutenant Governor, and of course, a Republican auditor. Along with these important races, we need to work hard to make sure we maintain as the dominant political party in Clark County by re-electing our Congresswoman, by re-electing current Republicans in our local county house and state delegations, and of course, by electing new Republicans to seats the Democrats currently hold. I look forward to working with you on this journey, and more importantly, I look forward to one heck of a party come November 2012. Kind of in conclusion, the process doesn't stop after today. We ask you to be involved. We ask you to go to our website, clarkcountygop.org, sign up to volunteer, sign up for our news blast, sign up to hear more from our candidates and our elected officials, and just find a way that best suits you to be involved. There's everything from the nitty-gritty of doorbelling and yard signs to making phone calls, just volunteering in our office and being there in case somebody has a question. And if you're on Facebook and Twitter, you can follow us on Clark County GOP. But the point is, folks, we need you involved not only today, but after today, because 2012 is going to be a great year, not only for our Republican presidential candidate, but on down the tickets. Thank you all so much. I look forward to a successful day and look forward to having a good time with you all.
Thank you, Brandon. And if I can now ask the candidates and or their representatives to begin working their way over here a little closer. We have a very tight time frame. And we're going to begin, as Brandon said, with the statewide candidates. So I believe we have someone here to speak on behalf of Attorney General McKenna. So and I think we have Peter Van Howard, Clark County Assessor, who's going to speak on behalf of Attorney General Rob McKenna and the Governor.
Hello. Well, welcome everyone to our Clark County Republican Convention. It's great to see such a big crowd here. I'm Peter Van Howard, and I am excited to be here today talking on behalf of Rob McKenna about his campaign for governor. I believe in Rob's new direction for Washington, and especially Clark County. He is ready to make a difference, and he has identified 3 vital areas where we can improve. First, we need to make Washington an attractive place to do business. 2, reform our educational system. 3, reform state government. Rob is a dynamic leader who knows our issues and has ideas to address them. I will share some of Rob's ideas with you, but first I want you to know Rob McKenna supports a C-Tran-wide vote on light rail. Let me say it again, so there is no misunderstanding. Rob McKenna supports a C-Tran-wide vote on light rail. Our current governor doesn't get it, Jay sure doesn't get it, but Rob gets it. Let's talk about jobs, specifically jobs in Clark County. Rob gets it that we must rein in the Department of Ecology and eliminate the pre-European water standards that are impacting our development. Bottom line, no new development, no new jobs. Rob gets it. Cheap power is key. Competitive advantage in green power is driving up our energy costs. Recognizing hydropower as the greenest energy and acting accordingly is vital to our local economy. Rob gets it. For Clark County businesses, it's tough to compete when Oregon businesses purchase private workers' comp insurance that is cheaper and has better outcomes for the workers. Our workers' comp insurance is costing us jobs, and Rob gets it. We know Rob gets it about jobs, let's talk education. Paramount duty of the state. Both Rob and I are proud alumni of the University of Washington. It's sad because of Democratic cuts. Our universities are rejecting our children for higher tuition payments from out-of-state and foreign schools. We need a new commitment, 50-50 commitment to our families. You pay half, the state pays half, and let's give our children a shot at the high-tech jobs and reduce the need to import college graduates. Every student needs and deserves a quality teacher in their classroom. We need to do a better job of evaluating teachers and pay our best teachers more. We need school options, and we need to challenge our brightest and best students so our children do the best wherever they go. Rob gets it. Thank you. Visit robmckenna.org for more information on Rob McKenna's campaign. Thank you.
Thank you, Peter. We all look forward to Rob's success this fall. Next, we have Glenn Anderson, candidate for Lieutenant Governor. Glenn.
Good morning. My first thing I want to do is say thank you for making American democracy work by being here this morning. You are the reason. You are the reason. My name is Glenn Anderson, and I'm running for Lieutenant Governor. And the reason I'm doing that is because the current incumbent has been in for 16 years. 16 years. How many of you can tell me what the Lieutenant Governor does? That's why I'm running. We have to change that. We have to change that. Now, I've served in the legislature representing a district in suburban rural King County for the last 12 years. And I have watched while our state has made no progress on a number of issues. None. As a matter of fact, in some cases, we've gone backwards. We all know that the most powerful thing we have to offer to the voters out there is our belief in the American dream. How many people here believe the American dream is at risk? Raise your hand. That's why I'm running for office. Lieutenant Governor, yes, is the spare to the governor, and that's not exactly the first priority for people. But we have got to make a clear statement that everybody on the public payroll, even after 16 years, needs to carry their weight. My focus is very similar to Rob's: private sector job creation, making sure our kids have a competitive education where nobody in the world is smarter than they are, nobody in the world has better opportunities than they do, and nobody has a government that does not listen to them anymore. The government we have is about special interests. And I've been there, I've seen it, I've listened to them, and it's time we put the people back in U.S., us. Glenn Anderson 2012.org. I ask for your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. And now Susan Page will be speaking on behalf of candidate for U.S. Senate, Mike Baumgartner.
Yes, thank you. Good morning. Senator Michael Baumgartner was born in Washington. He was raised here, went to school here, got his degree at WSU in economics, and later went on to Harvard to get his degree in international development. 2010, he ran for the state Senate seat, and he did the most expensive, most hard-fought fight in state history, going against and beating an entrenched Democrat who had the support of local lobbyists and insiders. But despite being a freshman, he helped shape the bipartisan state budget and his bill, which was to reform state government, which allowed non-essential contracting services, and it was called the most significant reform bill in the past 20 years in government. In addition to his state Senate work, Senator Michael Baumgartner frequently lectures to senior members of the military on counterintelligence. He has traveled over 70 countries. He has worked in Afghanistan as a state diplomat and did 7 months in Afghanistan also in counter-narcotics. He's a very experienced military man for us. He knows that beating a two-term incumbent, Maria Cantwell, is not going to be an easy task. But let's take a look at her voting record. Obamacare. She's voted for it and will not repeal it. Michael will. Debt limit. She voted 8 times to raise the debt ceiling, which is now 100% of our GDP. Deficit spending. The year she took office, we had a surplus. The government now is doing $1.3 trillion more in spending from monies that they've gotten from China. We ask that you help restore America back to the way that we once knew it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Great. Thank you very much, Susan. And now our beloved State Representative Ed Orcutt.
Good morning, Clark County Republicans. Are you ready to win? Are you tired of Democrat rule? If you're not, let me tell you why you should be. On August 17th of 2010, I wrote a letter to the governor requesting a moratorium on rulemaking. Why? We need jobs in this state. We need to stop the rulemaking process. 48 full-time equivalent employees in the Department of Ecology alone, whose sole purpose is to make it harder for our employers to put people back to work. It took her 3 months to do a moratorium. While that moratorium was in effect, over 1,410 new rules were written when no rules were supposed to be written. Does that sound like leadership? Does that sound like a way to get people working again in this state? That's why we need to change the leadership in Olympia. We need to start with the governor, and we need to change the majorities in the House and the Senate. Recently, you heard some of the Democrats talk about what happened in the Senate when the Senate Democrats could not get a budget out of their own committee, but the Republicans did. Republicans showed leadership where the Democrats could not. And what were the Democrats' response? The worst abuse of power they've seen in 10 years. Well, the person who said that wasn't there in 2002 when the Democrats used a simple majority vote to suspend a 2/3 vote requirement for tax increases in Initiative 601. A simple majority vote to eliminate a 2/3 majority vote. But he was there in 2005 when they eliminated 601. He was there in 2010 when they eliminated the 2/3 vote requirement in Initiative 960. That is the worst abuse of power that we have seen in Olympia. That is what we need to end. I'm Ed Orcutt. I'm running in the new 20th District. I ask for your support and support all Republicans. Let's move to victory.
Thank you, Ed. And now a shining star in the state legislature, Ann Rivers.
Thank you, Greg. Thank you so much. It is such an honor to be up here today and to be serving you in the legislature in Olympia. Greg said if I could get this done in a minute, I'd win a prize, and so I am up for that challenge. You know, it has been such an incredible time in the legislature. I'm in the 5th session of my freshman term, which is wholly unacceptable. I've been able to stand on the shoulders of giants up there, folks like Ed Orcutt and Don Benton and Joe Zarelli, and I just cannot tell you how proud I am to be associated with them, to be working with them on your behalf up there. We've gotten some great things done. I was just honored, received the Cornerstone Award from the Association for Washington Business for my work in reviving Washington business, because it is true that while business did not lead us into this down economy, business will lead us out. And we all know if you don't have a job, if you can't put food on your table, then your quality of life is deeply threatened. So please know that we'll continue to fight for you up there. The biggest giant shoulders I've been able to stand on are yours, because you always call me, you let me know what's going on, you let me know the good things, you let me know the bad things, and so I rely on you, and I thank you for your help in that regard. I also thank you in advance for all of the things that you're going to do to create Senate Republican majorities, as well as a House Republican majority. It's time to get Washington back on track, and we can only do that if Republicans are well represented in Olympia. I thank you once again. Have a great time at convention. Thank you for doing the work of the people.
Isn't she, Ann, great? Thank you, Ann. And now, all the way from Yakima, we have one of my favorite legislators, Bruce Chandler.
Good morning, and thank you very much. I'm Bruce Chandler, and for the last decade, I have represented the 15th district in the state legislature. That's the district in which the sun always rises first in Clark County. It's a district that's larger than 6 states in the Northeast. It's the only one that crosses the Cascade Crest, and at the end of this year, it will no longer be in the 15th. And so this is the last year I'll be representing people in Skamania and Clark County. And so I just wanted to take a minute to say thank you. Thank you very much for giving me the privilege and the honor of being part of this community and working on your behalf. The other thing is that I do want to say I am really impressed, just amazed at how many people took the time on a Saturday. Of course, it is raining, but nevertheless, on a Saturday, to spend your day here. It is an extremely important commitment that you've made, and I tell you, I really appreciate it and admire you for it. This is a moment of choosing. Now, Ronald Reagan used to say that. A moment in which we decide who we are as a community, as a state, and as a nation. And you're making sure that this community is part of that, and you're going to make the difference. Southwest Washington is it is vital to those of us in the State House in having a majority, a governing majority in the legislature to be able to work with the next Republican governor. It makes a difference that you can't imagine. And for all the years that you've supported me, that you've welcomed me into the county, I want to tell you thank you, and I will never forget it, and I'm not going to be a stranger. And I want to encourage you, this is going to be one of the most exciting, emotional, ugly years that you've ever seen in a presidential election. But we're going to win it because we're going to persevere through to the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Representative Chandler. And we are so fortunate to have 2 really fantastic candidates in the 18th District, beginning with Dale Smith, candidate for House in the 18th District. Dale?
Good morning. My name is Dale Smith, and I'm proud to be a Republican, as I hope you all are too. We have come a long way since 2008 when I was Tom Milky's campaign manager. He stood in this room, actually he stood in, I can't remember where we were last time, it's been so long ago, I'm sorry. But anyway, we came a long way. We won that race. We fought hard, and everybody needs to fight hard, everybody in this room, to push forward a Republican slate. I am always been, still am, and always will be a Republican. I'm not an only when it's convenient Republican. I will always be true to the party. I always have been true to the party. I have never endorsed, supported, or assisted any Democrat against any Republican in any race. My wife is a Washington native. I've been a resident of this beautiful state for 40 years. We've raised our 3 boys in Clark County. As your representative, I will work to make Washington State a better place to live than it is even now. My top 3 priorities are jobs, the bridge, and the budget. Lowering taxes and fees will help our businesses that exist stay in business and employ even more people. We need to assist new businesses to start. How about a moratorium on fees and taxes for 1 year just to get them started? Those who can work should have the opportunity. That's my motto. In this county, our true unemployment rate is over 20%. That's unacceptable. Among my priorities are solutions, sensible solutions to the congestion problem. How about a 3rd bridge anywhere? As far as light rail is concerned, Portland needs to keep it on their side of the river. We don't need it. It won't solve the congestion problem. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dale. And now another of our rising star freshman members of the House of Representatives, Paul Harris.
You know, it seems like I was just running a race. They come around really fast. That's the oldest freshman elected this last session, so definitely not a lifelong politician by any stretch of the words. You know, as I think of things that are important, my no button has been working really well. I push no a lot because it's easy to vote no. You know why it's easy to vote no? Because we really don't need more government. I was chastised a little bit by my party this last year because I didn't initiate a bill. I didn't bring a bill forward. I didn't bring a bill forward because I didn't think we needed to write another bill, okay? It cost $4,000 to write a bill, okay? $4,000. It better be a good bill if we're going to write it. I hope you see a lot of these signs out there. It's an ugly sign, isn't it? I like that. It's pretty ugly. But if you can't see it, you know, then I need to improve my signs. The last thing I want to tell you, you know, you hear a lot about the Washington State budget. We can't come to a decision on the budget. A lot of you might think that we don't have more money this year than we had last. The truth of the matter is, we have $800 million more this year than we had last. We have $1.6 billion more over the biennium. And by any stretch of the imagination, do not think that we need to raise taxes. Do not think that we need more money. You need to hold us accountable. We need to spend less, and we need to reduce our budget. And we can do that. And you know, we're going to have to all earn our own way. It's going to be a tough life. I'm Representative Harris. I seek your re-election. Hold me accountable. I seek to be re-elected, and I hope you can vote for me. Thank you very much.
Well, what a fantastic delegation we have serving us in Olympia these days. Hoping to join that delegation is Mike Appel in the 17th District, who just announced his candidacy last night. Come on up, Mike. Don't be shy.
Good morning. My name is Mike Appel, and I'm a proud conservative. And I'd really like to see, after 30 years of Democratic domination, to have the Republicans start putting things right again. I did not prepare a speech because, as Greg just said, I just finally figured out that I really wanted to run last night. kind of impromptu. I'm tired of seeing the Democrats spending our future away. They're spending us right down the drain. This used to be a great state with surpluses. We no longer have that. It's time for a change, and I hope that you will help me make part of that change, because all of us need to make that change to really be successful. And basically, in order to do that, hate to bring this up, but it takes money to run these campaigns, and you can pay us all now, or you can pay a whole lot to them later, so just kind of consider that. I hope you'll support me, Mike Appel, 17th District. I'm running against Tim Propes. And I don't think I need to say anything more than that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike. And again, we are blessed in this county to have two really fine candidates running for the position. And we have Julie Olson, who's also a candidate in the 17th District. Julie?
Thanks, Greg. My name is Julie Olson, and I'm here to announce my candidacy for the state representative in the 17th District. Politics for me has historically been more of a spectator sport. I've sat in my Barca Lounger and I've watched local, state, and national politics and haven't really gotten much real involved. But like you today, I'm out of the Barca Lounger, and I'm here to say I'm an enthusiastic candidate for this position. I want to thank my friend Liz Pike, Representative Ann Rivers, Representative Paul Harris, Senator Don Benton, Anna Miller, and Brandon Vick, who have all been so generous with their time in helping me come to this decision, and they've been, frankly, very honest, good and bad. But your team of elected officials that also include Ed Orcutt, Joe Zarelli, it's a fabulous team in Olympia. It's a great representation of conservative politics there, and a great representative of the citizens of Clark County. I would be really honored to be a part of that team. Just by way of background with regard to me, I'm a native Washingtonian. I was born in Seattle. I'm one of 4 kids. 2 brothers are firefighters, a sister's a federal prosecutor, so we've got a little bit of public service in our family. In the spring of 2005, maybe over a glass of wine with my neighbors, I agreed to run for the Richfield School Board. And in 2005, I was elected to the Richfield School Board. I'm in my 2nd term there, and I've been chair for 4 years. And for those of you who don't know, we just passed a $47 million facilities bond with almost 65% of the vote. So it was a great win for the community and a great win for Richfield. But just to wrap it up, a friend of mine asked me recently what I thought a good politician was about. And at first I thought a good politician might be an oxymoron, but I thought it deserved some consideration. And so I think she answered it best. A good politician will tackle the hard situations with strength and integrity in the best interest of the people they support and the causes they represent. One more time, with strength and integrity in the best interest of the people they represent and the causes they support. That's what I intend to be as your representative, and I really appreciate your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie, and thank you for your service in the Richfield School District. And now we have another fantastic candidate in the 18th District, Liz Pike. Liz.
I'm Liz Pike, and I am your candidate for the 18th Legislative District. I am so happy to be here in a room full of great patriots. Thank you all for being here today. We're going to change Washington State in this election, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to do my little part on a great team, which includes all of our legislators and senators that you've already heard from today. And there's only one problem in Olympia. There are not enough Republicans in Olympia, and I'm going to do my part to help this team, and I'm with Paul Harris all the way on. I'm going to go up to Olympia, and I'm going to repeal bills. I'm not going to pass bills. I want to tell you a little bit about me in case you haven't heard of me, in case you haven't seen my big signs and billboards everywhere. I'm a product of a Brush Prairie dairy farmer. I grew up on a working family farm with 12 brothers and sisters. I know what hard work is. I'm a farmer myself now. I've been a 30-year veteran in private sector business, and I don't believe in big government and high taxes. So when I go to Olympia, I'm going to represent all of you, and I would really appreciate it if you would consider voting for me. when I replace Ed Orcutt and continue his strong legacy of conservative leadership. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Liz. We will be asking for the credentials report at some time relatively soon, so if that credentials report can be beginning to be prepared, that'd be fantastic. Proceeding on, we're very pleased to have a candidate for nonpartisan office for Clark Public Utilities District Commissioner, Julia Anderson. Julia?
Yes, this is nonpartisan. I don't have to tell you whether I'm a Democrat or a Republican, but you will notice I am the only candidate here for Clark Public Utilities Commission. So thank you very much for this opportunity. I have a couple of questions for you. One, do you think that we need to preserve our low-cost electric power in this region for jobs and for economic growth? Yes. Do you think hydroelectric power should be considered a renewable power source? Yes. I'm your candidate in District 1, Clark Public Utilities Commissioner Julia Anderson. I would welcome your vote. Thank you so much.
Extra points for Julia. It was less than a minute. Yeah. So very good. So now we have Scott Scheid, who's going to speak on behalf of the Governor Romney campaign for president. Scott, come on up.
I'll try to keep it under a minute as well. I just want to say I'm happy to be here and appreciate your chairman's leadership as well as Kirby Wilbur with the state party. Everything I've seen throughout Washington working for Governor Romney, the turnouts have been big. Looks like we have a really good chance to put a Republican governor in office. And I'm not here to give you a stump speech on Mitt Romney. I mean, I think most of you have seen, the 20-plus debates. We've had 30-plus primaries and caucuses. That being said, this thing's starting to wind down, and it looks like we're getting a nominee. I'm here to promote the unity slate, and I know a lot of folks in this room don't like to be told how to vote. That being said, I just want to make sure that everybody knows that my main purpose is to beat Barack Obama. That's the same purpose that Governor Romney has, and we'll support whoever becomes the eventual nominee. That being said, I want to work together with everybody in this room, and I don't want to make this an ugly ordeal. That being said, we are going to put forward a unity slate, and we hope that Governor Romney's supporters, as well as other candidates in this room, supporters will join with that. And thanks for letting me be here, and thanks so much.
Thank you, Scott. And so now at this point, we're actually going to be stretching things out a little bit because we have to wait for the credentials report until we can actually conduct any formal business. So we're going to begin giving candidates about 4 or 5 minutes. So very pleased. Or I could talk about elections for half an hour. So, so very pleased to have Katya Delavar and Michael Delavar speaking on behalf of the Ron Paul campaign. Katya?
Thank you very much. We are intending on making this a short convention, so we're not going to talk very long. I'm going to let Michael go ahead and introduce Dr. Paul to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Michael Delavar, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Ron Paul presidential campaign this morning. By a show of hands, how many people this morning want a new resident in the White House? All right. By a show of hands, how many delegates this morning believe that their candidate can best beat Obama? I'm glad to see we all agree this morning. Each of us is likely to believe that our candidate promotes the plan of action that is essential to beating Obama and guiding our nation towards a brighter future. Just talk to the other candidate supporters in this room and they'll tell you exactly how to fix this nation. I know we're all experts at that. This discussion is a good thing, and it needs to happen, and that discussion also needs to happen at the national level as well. In this room, supporters from 4 different campaigns will continue that discussion today. One more question. How many people this morning understand the importance of 1144? Okay, not as many, but it's important. That's how many national delegate votes a candidate needs in order to secure the Republican nomination. As of today, there's only one candidate that mathematically can receive 1,144 delegate votes prior to the national convention. But the fact that he hasn't already secured those votes indicates that the debate isn't over yet. 6 days ago, 2 campaigns started a discussion in Washington State about helping each other reach the national convention. The Ron Paul campaign, the Rick Santorum campaign, and Newt Gingrich supporters have a strong common interest. The only way that our individual campaigns can make a difference at the national convention in Tampa is to ensure that the other candidate in the race does not have 1,144 votes on the first ballot. What happens after that first ballot will be determined by the national delegates and the candidates themselves, and I won't presume to know what that will be. However, today, we are delegates representing our respective campaigns. I urge all Ron Paul supporters to vote for the open convention slate, which we have on yellow and sometimes green paper. I also urge other delegates to vote for this slate. It's exactly what it says it is. Our combined plan to have a voice at the national convention. Please vote for the open slate. As of today, there's no presumptive nominee. However, if you give your votes to a certain candidate that allows him to have 1,144 votes on the first round of balloting in Tampa, you do not necessarily have a voice in that process at the national convention. You'll just have to concede and support. The reason that we support different candidates is likely because we have different issues that are important to us and most important to us. Let us stand strong as advocates for those positions and principles, letting whoever is the eventual nominee know that he will have to respect our voice as conservatives in order to gain our support. And more importantly than all of that, let's elect a Republican to the White House. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Michael and Katya, and thank you for all your work this year. Fantastic. And now we have our incumbent county commissioner, Tom Milky, who's going to run for re-election this fall. And so, Tom, come on up.
Thank you. I don't think it's too late, but good morning, Clark County. You know, there we are. You know, I see a lot of new faces, and we saw that ever since our caucuses. A lot of you don't know me, but I am Tom Milky. You've allowed me to represent you as a state representative, and for nearly the last 4 years as one of your Clark County commissioners. And for that, I want to thank you. It's a privilege and an honor to represent you, and I take that very seriously. Thank you. We've done a lot, we've accomplished a lot, and I want to hit a couple things that we did. If you remember right, we had in balancing our budget, which we do have in Clark County, we did that by eliminating almost 240 positions, and we are still alive and working well. We have a balanced budget. We removed the flawed MOU with the Cowlitz tribe. We now have in place the E-Verify system, and we stood up to sue the Department of Interior when they ruled against one of our judges. And we are also in court with the Department of Ecology asking Clark County to do what's right for preserving our environment. I take very seriously representing you, and I have not changed. I still believe in we the people. I'm still God-loving, gun-toting Christian, and I need your vote to go back. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you for your service these past 4 years to Clark County. As I've been saying all morning, we are blessed this year to have some fantastic candidates to choose between during the primary. And among those candidates is David Medora running for county commissioner as well. David?
So this is what it looks like to be on this side of the microphone. It looks really good because I look out there and I see a whole lot of people that are getting involved, citizens that now make the powers that be stand up and pay attention. This is a really good site. First of all, I want to say that I support the fellow who just spoke here, Tom Milky. He is doing what he can in order to check the growth and the size of government, and we need to support him. He needs a friend on the board that can help to bring sanity, to bring balance, to bring common sense. Right now, we're a minority. We need to be able to, and we can change that. First, I'd like to have a show of hands if we can. How many of you would like to have a county-wide vote on light rail if you could? Well, just so that, you know, we've had voices that would say that, well, the majority of the people, they really support this Tim Levitt project that we have going here, this light rail tolling project. How many of you support that project the way it's proposed? Let's take a look. Go ahead, raise your hand. Now's the time. We do have a hand out there. Okay, for the record, we do have a hand. Okay. So we can magnify that and we can say the majority of us did, right? Well, first of all, I'm not a politician, I'm a business guy, and like many people who paid attention to their own business and to their own family, raising their family, we assume that the environment that we're living in, that we can just focus doing our job and we can provide jobs and we can just do what we love to do. And something caught my attention about 2 years ago, and it's got my attention a whole lot now. And I thought there was going to be sanity in the process, and what I figured out is that if there's going to be good sense, there's going to be principles, there's going to be values, there's going to be sound financial principles in play, the only way that's going to happen is if we, the citizens, some of us step up to the plate, stop doing what we love to do, and I tell you, I love to do what I'm doing, and step up to the plate and serve a larger community and sacrifice. Because believe me, I don't need this job. I'm happy doing what I love to do. I have a fabulous team of people that have given me the freedom to be able to serve in a larger capacity. U.S. Digital is very, very healthy. We are prospering. We are thriving. In fact, just I guess it was yesterday, the Vancouver Business Journal listed us as a finalist for one of the fastest growing businesses for the last 10 years. But I don't take credit for that. We've got a team that works really hard, and one of my favorite things to do is empower others to make them successful so they can do what they love to do. There's another business that we started up, and it's really run like a nonprofit, but I can afford to do that because it's a need, and that is for us to connect each other. We are people living in a region here, and we're not a community until we connect, until we get to know each other, until we pull together in unity. And that other business is Couv.com, Vancouver. Whoa, is that a signal?
Not for me, it's not.
Okay. Well, can you still see me? Can you still hear me? Okay. Well, one thing I want you to know is that I can hear you. And I will be listening to you. And I am principled.
I guess that means you're done, David, so thank you.
I do have a signal. Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm going to yield. That's one of the things I do really well. DavidMador.com. Learn who I really am and then vote. Hold me accountable. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, David. Well, this is kind of dramatic. Oh, kind of a delayed strobe light kind of thing. Yeah. Okay. Well, so with that little bit of excitement, and thank you, David, for, again, providing us choices in this primary. And now we have Jeff Osenka, who's going to speak to us on behalf of the Santorum National Campaign for President. Jeff?
Well, thank you. I'm the outsider here. I'm the one person, as far as I know, who's speaking from the national campaign who is not a Clark County person. So as such, I want to introduce myself. I'm the rules expert for the Santorum campaign. And usually they don't send me to speak, but they had a particular reason here because I know the Pacific Northwest. But I need to say that to begin with, so there's no questions. You might be able to tell from my colors that I'm an Oregonian. So now you're not going to listen to a thing I say. But out of respect for all of you, I'm going to add a color. And I've got the blue star, so now I've got Washington State and the University of Washington, as well as Oregon State and Oregon. So I'm doing my best for party and country and state. I've been a Republican precinct person since 1983 from Oregon. I was on the John McCain presidential campaign in their delegates and ballot access. And then for 6 months, I was the paid delegates director for Herman Cain. We got him on the ballot in 11 states. Some of you may know Herman Cain. What a fine man. And the media pushed him out. The media pushed him out because they were acting as gatekeepers, and they always do this, and they're trying to do this again. They want to tell you, the media wants to tell you who their candidate is. They have decided, the media has decided that it's Mitt Romney. And we disagree. And so because we disagree, we need to be very, very clear because there's lots of deception out here. So there are people wearing badges, and they have been told that there is a so-called unity slate, and they have the name of my candidate. They have the name of my candidate, Rick Santorum, on their badges. If you have such a badge and you are a Santorum supporter, I ask you to put an X in that badge because the National Santorum Campaign does not approve, does not support the so-called unity slate. So we want to support and Rick Santorum himself has been on the call to tell us this. We are supporting the open convention slate. We are supporting the open... We are supporting the open convention slate for a simple reason. If Mitt Romney gets to his 1144, as the media wants him to, the campaign will be over. And therefore, it is essential for, hold your applause, I only have a certain time. It is essential for all supporters of the other candidates and those who are uncommitted. If you want an open convention, even if you have somebody that you like even better than the other three, that the open convention is what gets us there. And so we have put together a slate. We are ready to amend that slate to add additional people. If you want to step forward and say, I thought I should be for the unity slate because I thought it was for Santorum, and now I see it isn't, and you want to join our slate, we will make room for you. So talk to me, and we will get that done. So we'll make it happen. We'll make it work. Please come and speak to me, and I will, as I say, I'm Jeff Wasanka, and I'm from the National Santorum Campaign.
Those are my documents.
Thank you. Except this, that was yours.
Right on. That's what we need, a little energy this morning. That's fantastic. Thank you, Jeff. So now we have addressing the group this morning, Brad Palmer, who's going to speak on behalf of Newt Gingrich. Brad, come on up.
Hi, I am Brad Palmer. I want to thank you for the opportunity to have each of you here today and your support for the Republican Party and the Republican ideals. I'm speaking on behalf of Newt Gingrich, and I'm highly honored and a little nervous, to be honest with you, in doing that. The position that we want to make sure is understood is that at this point in time, our party is fractioned. We have spent way too much time cutting each other off at the knees or above and dividing everything up with the concept that we're going to divide and conquer. The plea I have for you is that we stop this behavior and we start to realize that each one of the candidates represents some fantastic ideas and abilities, and that it needs to be brought together as a group, as the Republican Party. Thank you. I personally favor Newt Gingrich as the candidate for president. And it's because I believe that up to this point, our process has been dominated by the media, paid and unpaid. And that if we think that we can continue this devastation against each other and stand a chance against the mountains of millions that Barack Obama has and his obvious willingness to use that type of tactic, we are making a fatal error for ourselves and our party. I believe that the main issue in this coming campaign, the way that we can reach the American people, is through the American debate system for president. I also believe that only Newt Gingrich has the ability to act on his feet to respond to Mr. Teleprompter and get this job done. So I know a lot of you think that Newt is second choice because the momentum seems to be behind others. I ask each of you to search your heart and say, what do we really need to do to be one party, to be the party that is finally going to get a chance to take this country back from creeping progressive socialism? And I'm here to tell you, I think that candidate, without a doubt, for the leadership position of president is Newt Gingrich. I believe the other people involved have a lot to bring to the table. And so I'm urging you, let's form something together. Let's all get to the table. Let's win.
Okay, well, good. Thank you very much, Brad, for that inspiring message, and thank you to all the candidates this morning and speakers. I'm so pleased this morning that our Congresswoman, Jamie Herrera Butler, has joined us. A big round of applause for Jamie. Yay!
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Good morning. You know, last night I was in Pacific County at the Pacific County Lincoln Day dinner. And I've been going to that for several years now. And you know what was amazing about that dinner was last night there was over 50% more people last night than there was the year before. You know, it's a small little area, heavily Democratic. And I think, I was thinking about this morning, I was thinking about the caucuses, what, 3 weeks ago, a few weeks ago. And I made it to several of them. I made it to as many as I could. And each one was not only at capacity, it was above capacity. And I had to think, this is an amazing thing. You know, a few years ago we did this convention, we did it at my high school, Prairie High School. Well, we are way too big to do it at Prairie High School today. Why do you think that is? I'll tell you why. This is very simple. It's because free men and women who want to govern themselves feel their rights are being infringed upon. You know, the president talks a lot about fairness, right? Fairness. See, free men and women who govern themselves understand fairness. In fact, we believe in it, right? We believe in justice. We believe in earned success. It's in our founding documents, it's guaranteed that we have a right to pursue those things, right? We believe in that justice. We believe in that fairness. I think the president has a different definition of fairness. We should ask him some of those questions. You know, I've had the chance to talk to him a couple times. In fact, this last State of the Union, I weasel my way down in front to say hello, because he can't enter the U.S. House floor unless he's invited. So I went down there to say, welcome to the House, Mr. President. And you know, I was thinking about what I was going to say to him, and because I knew I'd get a second. And you know, rather than ask him some specific questions about fairness, I just said, you know, Mr. President, it's going to be an interesting year. And I shook his hand. And he smiled, and he said, it is going to be interesting. And I had to think, you know, our definitions of interesting is going to be different. just like our definitions of fairness are different. You know, that idea that you can work for and earn your success is fundamentally American. It's fundamentally American. That's why for generations, our ancestors and those who have come here, the folks who founded our country, had that pioneering gene, that desire to grow, to prosper, and to pass that success on to the next generation. You know, our founders had us in mind. They had posterity in mind when they fought and they bled for this country. And it is our responsibility to pass that on. You know, when I hear the president, and I heard him at that speech, and I've heard him several times now talk about his definition of fairness, I kept thinking, you know, I'd like to ask him a couple questions about fairness. On Inauguration Day, when he took office, gas was at about $1.84 a gallon. Today, it's up over $4. Is that fair? You know, this president added more to our national debt than all 8 years of the Bush administration combined. He did it in 3 years, 2 months. Is that fair? Is it fair to pass on to our kids and our grandkids that kind of debt? Are they going to be able to succeed and grow businesses when they have to pay off this big spending spree? No. You know, aside from some of those big, heavy issues, I have to smile when I hear bureaucrats talking about how they know best. They know better how to run our lives, how to raise our kids, what health insurance we should have, what we should pay for. Gosh, they think they know better than us what light bulbs we should use, what shower heads can be in our bathrooms, and what toilet we should flush. I don't think that's fair. I actually think what's fair is when free men and women who understand that we've been given the right to govern ourselves by our Creator stand up and push back. And that's what's happening today. That's why I think it is fair that on a rainy, yucky Saturday morning, we have the right, the responsibility to get up. And I apologize for those folks who waited in line for hours and hours. I just want to say thank you for being willing to put your time and your effort into this. I know we don't all agree on who's going to be the best person to beat Barack Obama, but we all agree that this cause is worth fighting for. It's worth our time, it's worth our effort, and I applaud you for getting up, coming here, and really being the source of change that's going to take us through November. And I'll leave you with one final thought when it comes to fairness. You know, here in Clark County, we've had 38 straight, actually I think we're going on 39 straight months of double-digit unemployment. Gosh, that's what keeps me up at night. That's what I think about when I'm working on policies, is how do we create that environment where jobs can grow? And when I think about the president's definition of fairness, what would really be sweet justice is on the day after the election, rather than seeing my friends and neighbors in that unemployment line, he had to join it. Thank you.
Well, isn't she fantastic? Thank you very much. Another big round of applause. All right, well, we are waiting for a report from the Credentials Committee as well as the upgrading of alternates by precinct. And at that point, we will read the call and begin the official business. But immediately prior to that, I am very pleased to introduce to you the State Party Chair, Kirby Wilbur. Kirby.
Thank you, Greg. Clark County, how you doing? Is this our year? Is this our year? It is our time. It's so gratifying to see so many of you here, so many of you who went to the caucuses and decided to participate. Our caucus participation this year was up by a factor of 4 over the busiest year we've ever had. It was 2008, we had 13,000. This year we had 51,000 of you, so thank you. Thank you. I know self-government can be messy and time-consuming and sometimes very confusing, but our founders gave us a system, and men and women in uniform have died so you could be here today, governing yourself. I want to talk a bit about 2012, how important it is. But first, to lighten things up a little bit, there was an atheist hippie environmentalist out walking in the woods enjoying nature. And the stream was flowing, and the sun was shining, and the wind was blowing, the birds were singing. He crossed a bend in the trail, and there was a big black bear. He saw the bear saw lunch. So the hippie liberal environmentalist with long hair starts running, and the bear chases him, and he's running as fast as he can. He trips over a bump in the trail and falls flat on his face, rolls over. The bear's about to swat him. He yells out, "Oh my God!" And all of a sudden the bear freezes, and the birds stop singing, and the creek stops flowing, the wind stops blowing, and a voice comes from the heavens and says, "Yes, my son." And he says, "Who are you?" He said, "I'm God. You called me. What do you want?" "I'm busy." He says, "Well, I don't want to get eaten." "Well, what do you want me to do about it?" "Well, I don't know, because I don't even know if you exist. I mean, I learned in college you don't exist, and my friends don't believe in you. And come on, I got to get on to other things. What do you want?" "I just don't want to get eaten." "Okay. How about becoming a Christian?" "Well, I can't do that. I mean, I learned you don't. I didn't even think I'm hallucinating. I'm not even talking to you. You don't exist. I can't become a Christian. But the bear, make the bear a Christian." Silence in the heavens. And finally, God says, "Okay, what you asked for, you get." And all of a sudden, the creek is flowing, the birds are singing, the wind is blowing, the bear brings down his paw and says, "Dear Lord, please bless this meal I'm about to receive." Be careful what you ask for. My friends, I am proud to be your party chairman, but I cannot win this election by myself. Nor can I win it with your Clark County leadership, Brandon, Vick, and the others, nor can any of those candidates win it. We can't win it without you. We will win this election because it's time. Let's talk about the president. I'd rather not, but he's there. This is the most corrupt administration in decades. It's not just about the economy. Let's talk about Fast and Furious, where this government arranged for criminals to get guns so they could prove we need gun control, ended up killing dozens of innocent Mexicans and the U.S. Border Patrol, and our government knew it was happening. That's corruption. Let's talk about crony and phony capitalism. Ever heard of Solyndra? And there are many, many more. Let's talk about the Volt, a car they don't even make anymore, at least for the rest of the year, because nobody bought it. But we spent a ton of money developing it and subsidizing those that purchased. The average Volt buyer had a salary of $170,000 a year. And then we chipped in $7,500 to help get the price down, and the president's budget next year calls for $10,000 to get the price down. Phony, crony capitalism. Let's talk about the economy. I give you 4 words for the economy. He made it worse. His policies fail. Jamie went through gas prices. We look at unemployment. It's not getting better. What's getting better is the market. It's such a marvelous mechanism for creating wealth and prosperity. No matter how hard you try to kill it, it will come back. And what we see are those few little breaths of life as the market tries to get over the regulation and the taxation and Obamacare. The Supreme Court will take care of that for us, I hope. But my friends, and let's look at the state of Washington, shall we? The Republicans have not had a governor and a Senate and a House together since 1982. I think it's time. 30 years of one-party rule can end this year if we work together. We have the ideas. We have the candidates. You met some of them today. But we can't do it without you. Now, some of you, how many of you are at your first caucus, if I may ask? Very impressive. Thank you. Thank you. It doesn't end here. It doesn't end in Tampa. It ends on election night, when we take the White House and the State House and the courthouse. Because if we don't, my friends, the American dream is at stake. Everyone comes before you and tells you this is the most important election of all time. Well, let me tell you something. I've been involved for a very long time. I've not seen a situation like this since 1980, where the American dream was on the precipice of failure. This year, our national debt exceeded our gross domestic product. First time. And the debt continues to go. The president's budget plans foresee deficits of $1.5 trillion as far as the eye can see. Annual deficits, 1.5. That means in 10 years, we're going to double our national debt. He has no plan to balance the budget. Now, we have a guy by the name of Paul Ryan. And Paul Ryan has not provided a perfect budget plan, but he's beginning the adult discussion we have to have about these important issues facing us. The president's budget, by the way, failed in the House on Thursday, 414 to nothing. Not a single Democrat voted for the president's budget. And the Senate Democrats haven't done a budget in 3 years. They're fiddling while Rome is burning. We are a hope. Now, that doesn't mean we can just elect Republicans and go home. We need to elect Republicans and then keep their feet to the fire and remind them why they're there. You can't walk away. Because let me tell you something, and any state House member or Senate member can tell you this, when they get down to Olympia, they never get people like you saying, thanks for what you're doing. They get people saying, I need money. Don't cut my program. Pay me, not him. And it's constant. They need to hear from you after they get elected. Remember, we sent you there to do a job, and we're watching you, and we expect the job to be done. And then when they do something right, you need to call and thank them. Because they'll tell you, they hear from all of you when they do something wrong. They never hear from you when they do something right. The American dream, the idea that we pass a better life on to our children, and that they make a better life for their children and your grandchildren, have a better life. That's the cornerstone of this country. My mother came here from Poland. Her parents brought her to give a better life in America. And she worked very hard her entire life to give me a better life. I've had a pretty good life. I've first in my family go to college, had a great radio job for a long time, and now I get to lead your party, which is an honor and a blessing. But what about my kids? When the debt exceeds the GDP, when the government has no plans to spur or help economic growth, but actually hinders it and gets in the way with regulations and taxes, what kind of world do they face? I want my kids to have a better country than I had. And we can't do that with Barack Obama in the White House, with Jay Inslee in the State House, or Frank Chop leading, or Lisa, what's her name? Oh, I can't even remember her name. Thank you. Lisa Brown leading the Senate Democrats. We need a change. Just think of your future. Now, how are we going to do it? I'll tell you how we're going to do it. Most of you have worked on campaigns, I'm sure, and many of you probably worked in 08 and 10. My friends, if you spent 2 hours a week at a phone bank, we need 4. If you walked 5 precincts, I need you to walk 10. If you gave $100, I need you to give $200. If you held signs on a street corner 1 night a week, I need 3. We need to win. This is the year. Winston Churchill once said, sometimes it's not enough to try. Sometimes you must simply do. My friends, this is our year to do. If Barack Obama gets reelected, if we don't take back the Senate and the House, if you talk to any of the state reps back there, senators, they'll tell you, this state is in worse financial shape than California when you look at our unfunded obligations for pensions and health care for our retired public employees on a per capita basis. We are further in debt and have more unfunded obligation than the state of California. I don't choose to follow California. I choose to lead with reform and changes and get back to a prosperous state where it's a great thing to start a business. We applaud business people, where we have great schools and it's safe to walk the streets. That's the kind of Washington I want. We're not going to have it with Frank Chop and Lisa Brown and Jay Inslee. You have it within your hands to change the world. There are enough people in this room, if you'll devote yourself, to get all those candidates in the back elected and to elect a president and elect a new senator and to change this world. You can go home and do nothing. You can say, I spent a Saturday afternoon in a really boring meeting and everybody said bad things about each other and I didn't like it, so I don't like the system, go home, and you are condemning your children to an America that is not the America that they should have. Or you can rededicate yourself to say, I'm going to do everything I can. And look, some of you have talents, some of you have money, some of you have time. Put it all together. Give what you can. Because your kids one day are going to ask you what you did. If we fail in this great enterprise, as they read in the books and hear from friends and look at old newspapers and see how America used to be, they're going to ask you what you did in the war. I want to be able to tell my kids I did everything I could. Because if you do everything you can and you fail, there is no dishonor in that. But you don't want to spend your years in retirement saying, if I'd only done something more, if I'd only done this and that, my kids, this is the time, my friends. The time is now. The time is now. Abraham Lincoln, I believe the greatest president of the 19th century and the founder of our party, really the father of our party. During the middle of the Civil War, he would love to meet with troops going home from the war front. Back then, you signed up for 90 days, 180 days. You didn't fight the whole war. You volunteered, spent your 6 months on line, and if you were alive, you went home. And they would come home through Washington, D.C., a lot of them, because Virginia was the centerpiece of the Civil War. My home state, 60% of the war was fought in my home state. And to go home to Ohio and Michigan and New York, they would go through Washington, D.C. and catch a train. And on August 28, 1864, Abraham Lincoln spoke to the men of the 164th Ohio who were on their way home. He said this to them. He said, "Gentlemen, people don't really understand what this war is about. This war is about whether my children and your children shall enjoy the very same privileges and liberties that we as Americans have enjoyed." That was 150 years ago, my friends. It's the same truth today. That's what this is about. Not who wins, not ego, not who has the power, but whether we will save our great land. And then he closed by saying this: this nation is worth fighting for. It still is. So, I told the chairman, I told Greg, I had an hour-and-a-half speech. We could wait till credentials, but I'm not going to bore you that long. I've got other places I have to go babysit too. So, anyway, as chairman, that's my job. Let me just say this in closing this. This nomination process has been very contentious, and I understand that. And I, as being neutral and objective as I can be, I've talked to all 4 campaigns. I know people involved in all 4 campaigns. I know undecided people, uncommitted people. I've traveled the state. And what we should be looking at is not just the contention, but look around you at how many people are in this room. Look around you and understand that these are the people you have to work with after we walk out of this room tonight, no matter who wins in here, to save this country. Because any one of the men or women that this party would consider to be president is far superior to what's in the White House right now. I know espresso stand owners that are more qualified than this guy because they've actually been in real life and run a business. This man has no experience, and we must end his term with whoever it is, be it Ron Paul, Newt Gingrich, Rick Santorum, Mitt Romney, or whoever a broker convention comes up with, or whoever God delivers or falls out of the sky. We must defeat Barack Obama. So, 2 seconds. So I ask this, as you contend today for who gets to be your delegates to Tacoma in the state convention. By the way, it's going to be a great state convention. It's going to be an awesome state convention, best one we've had. Vancouver, Clark County 2 years ago set the bar so high. We're going to beat the bar in 2 years. In Tacoma, excuse me, you got to come and join us. But no matter what is said and done in this room, don't spend all your ammunition on your friends. Save some of it for the other side, because we must win in November. Thank you. God bless you, and God bless America.
Thank you very much, Kirby, and thank you for all the work you're doing on behalf of all the candidates here in the state. So at this time, by the powers that have been invested in me, I'm going to declare a 10-minute recess. So stand up, stretch, and then we will come back in about 10 minutes to begin the official business. Thank you.